Wow, this is such an honor. Thank you so much. As one who was there on that opening night, I have this to say. My, how you have grown. You remember we were in a room, stand up, no meal. There may have been food. I didn't see any of it, but there may have been. Ron, remember how? Well, I'll display it with great pride in the Capitol. It was packed and jammed, and it was so incredible because it was the opening night. And usually these things start off small and then grow. Well, that started off big and has grown since. And thank you for growing in terms of organizationally and in your agenda as well. I'm honored to receive this award as a defender of democracy. We never thought in our country it would be so at risk. It was. And so many of I accept this award on behalf of my members because they have been were so very, very strong. Some of them here tonight. I know that Kathy Manning is here with her husband, Randall. She's been wonderful. I don't know if Debbie Wasserman Schultz is still there. She is. Debbie, that light is there. Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Any other members still here? Some have come and gone. I know Hillary Schulten was here earlier. I don't know if anyone else. But in any event, Haley Stevens was here. Yes, she has been a regular here. Yes. And of course, what I call him, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Secretary, Mr. Chairman again, Mr. Glickman. Thank you, our former colleague. So many titles, so much talent. He has so many titles to go around. I thought I had some prepared remarks, but I just wanted to talk to some of you personally because many of us go way back and in some cases ever widening circle of friends. Of course, the Gelmans have been friends of Susan since practically, I don't know, forever. And Michael, thank you for all that you have done in this community and for our country and your family as well. For environmental justice shall prevail. That's an applause line. We can go. When we were on that trip was one of the first trips that I was in Israel as Speaker of the House. And it was an honor to be there in that capacity, but just to be there. And I had been to Israel before as a member, but not as Speaker. And when we were there, there was an article in the paper that said, Speaker Pelosi comes by her support for Israel naturally. And it told the story of my father, Thomas D'Alessandro Jr., a mayor of Baltimore, but he was member of Congress in the New Deal, elected in the late 30s, worshipped at the shrine of Franklin Roosevelt, but disagreed with him on two things. That was, he wasn't doing enough to address the concerns of Jewish people in Europe, in his view, and he wasn't early enough advocating for a Jewish state in what was then called Palestine. He did this before he was even in Congress. He was a member of something called the Berkson Group, and because he was a Shabbat Goy when he was a teenager, he spoke Yiddish. He didn't speak Italian. His mother was born in Baltimore, but he spoke Yiddish. So he would go to some of you. Dan has heard this story before, but he would go to these rallies and all the rest. He ran for state legislature when first time he could vote. He voted for himself for state legislature, then for city council, then for Congress, then later for mayor of Baltimore. But along the way, here he was, this orator. He couldn't read a speech to save his life, but he could turn any crowd around. From booing to laughing and cheering in a minute. He was that way, and in Yiddish. So in any case, they would use him. I mean, not use him. He was a good soldier in this regard. He would be in pageants and parades and rallies to this effect. So he went to Congress. It was only natural for him to go to the floor and say, Mr. Speaker, I seek recognition as a member of the Men's Hebrew Army. And it's like, and he did in 1943. I didn't come here to talk about my father, but since we're talking about justice, he on the floor of the House early March 1943, he went to the floor of the House. He read a statement into the record, and I can send it to you, where he said, I want to call to attention of this Congress the fact that, more words prefacing it, but 2 million people have been killed by the Germans just because of what they believe, members of the Jewish community. Now, this was the part that Franklin Roosevelt wasn't too happy about. This information is well known to the administration and is in the archives of the State Department. That was really a charge. It was really a charge. And many more people would die after that still. Many Hungarians came in late, many more would die. So in any event, again, he worshiped at the shrine of Franklin Roosevelt, except in terms of that. And without going into what was the right strategy or whatever it was they were thinking, that was his passion. And again, was so proud that Harry Truman immediately recognized the state of Israel, which I consider to be the greatest political feat of the 20th century, the establishment of the state of Israel. A Jewish democracy in what was Palestine. My members are tired of hearing me talk about my father in that regard, but I'm so proud of it. I just received a plaque from an organization that was a plaque to people who helped people during the Holocaust, whether it was visas, whether it was just pleading for more people to be able to enter the country and the rest of that. But, here we are at a time where in our own country, who would have ever thought that during the administration of the previous occasional occupant of the White House, we would be put through this so much. It would be put through this so much. I had the privilege of being in Israel at Yad Vashem for the 75th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. When the president of Israel invited me to bring a group again to Israel, I said, I will bring anyone you want, and some others that you may want, but I want to make sure that every one of them understands that we're going to Auschwitz before we go to Yad Vashem. This is our purpose. Birkenau, those of you who've been there know that is beyond comprehension how this could have ever happened. But the fact is, there were many beautiful statements that were made, poems that were read, this or that. And one that I heard when I was there, I thought I would share with you tonight, because when I was on the plane coming here last night, some people were on the plane who said, I love that you said that poem. I love that you said that poem. And I thought, well, may it be appropriate or not, but you'll let me know. It says, I have no other country. Now think of America as I'm reading this. I have no other country, even though my land is burning. Only a word in Hebrew penetrates my veins, my soul. With an aching body and a hungry heart, here is my home. I will not be silent, for my country has changed her face. I shall not give up on her. I shall remind her. I will sing into her ears until she opens her eyes. That was so much of what we were thinking during that time of the assault on our democracy, which took a physical form on January 6th. I mean, we saw the anti-Semitism, the white supremacy, all of these negative things, anti-women, anti-LGBTQ, anti-trans, anti-this, anti-that. But the anti-Semitism rearing its head here when we thought we were beyond that. Now, this poem was written by Ehud Manor in Israel, but it did apply, in my view, to what we were going through in our country. Joe Biden is a person committed to justice. He really is. Whether it's justice in terms of our values and how we respect people, justice in our economy, justice in our society, justice in our judicial system, justice in our environment, in every way, fairness, justice, inclusiveness, respect, diversity, and the rest. So we're very blessed that he is president of the United States, and he has empathy for those who have suffered in many of these, shall we say, discriminations in our country. That's why it's so, what you're doing is so very, very important. You're a political organization, but you're very, very values-based. You prioritize carefully about democracy and justice. And Susan, thank you for your kind words. Haley and Bobby, thank you for making this such a wonderful success for the cause. But I want to just say a few words about Ron Klein, because he really is remarkable. When he was leaving and coming to do this, we would miss him because he was such a valuable and valued and respected member of Congress. But his passion was to do this to, again, in another way, in another arena, to promote justice. Again, a very respected and valued member of Congress. When he spoke, people listened, and he spoke very clearly about values, democracy, justice, fighting anti-Semitism as one form of discrimination, but others as well. So congratulations on the great leadership of the Jewish Democratic Council of America, I love the name. I love the name. And as he said, when you talk about your values, whether it's healthcare and all that means, a woman's reproductive health freedom as well. Thank you for your leadership in that regard on privacy. Again, we have to flip the house back. Now, I just want to say this is very self-serving. I always put up a self-serving sign. When how did I get to be speaking? But by the way, people ask me, what does emerita mean? It means happiness. It means happiness. I mean, I love being speaker, but 20 years, speaker or leader, Dan, sympathy, right? I mean, it was a wonderful honor, but every day, just think of it, every day you're like, it has to go perfectly on the floor of the House. We have to, again, build our consensus within the party so that we can win on the floor. You're shaking your head because you know what it takes. And again, we have to win the elections. We have to raise the money. We have to lift the debt ceiling. We have to do so many things. And it's a great honor. But emerita is too. And I'm happy because Hakeem Jeffries is going to do such a magnificent job. Then we play this right. You could be speaker in this term, you never know. On the other side, you never know. But in any event, Hakeem and Catherine Clark and Pete Aguilar from California. Now, California, I know, hopefully you'll be helping there. We have, when I start to run, this is the self-serving side. When people were asking me to run for leadership. You remember that, Dan? Even before, way back when. And so I didn't even want to run for Congress. I'm a very shy person. I didn't even want to run for Congress. I mean, I never even thought of it until people came and said, run for Congress. So then they were saying, you have to run for leadership. So I said, one day, I just got so tired of losing. I mean, we lost in 94, 96, 98, and we were coming up on the 2000 election. I said, I'm just so tired of losing. So I said to the JDCA, and thank all of you who support it, very important. I said, you know what? I used to be chair of the California Democratic Party. I know the grassroots of this state down to the last blade of grass. I know the districts. I know how different they are and different within the district, how the message has to be. I want to take California. We'll raise money for you in the rest of the country, but we want to make the judgments in our state about this election. And I promise you this, they needed 7 seats to take back the House. I promised them 4 in California. Going into the election that night, there were 26 Democrats and 26 Republicans. After midnight that night, there were 31 Democrats and 21 Republicans. Adam Schiff, Jane Harmon, Mike Honda, of course, Susan Davis, Mike Honda, and Hilda Solis. We won 5. Hilda was easy, I have to say, but nonetheless, it was Republican to Democratic. We won 5. So that when you win 5, you win 10. You know, take 5 from here, add it there, 31-21. Since then, we kept increasing our numbers. And now we are 40 Democrats and 12 Republicans. We still want more. We still want more, but we do have to, you can't win it all. I mean, we have these good Democratic districts, so you have to have some Republican districts, but not so many, but you have to have some. So in any event, if you want to be speaker, just pick up like 20 seats in your hand. That's the path. But again, we won, and therefore, when it came time, when we won the Congress, it was, you're going to be speaker. Chuck, Rahm Emanuel was the chair. He was elected chair. He ran the campaign, and he was the chair. You know Rahm, right? Yeah. Rahm knows you. he said, when I was nominated, you have to be nominated by the party to go to the floor and then be elected on the floor. So when I was nominated by the party, Rahm said, what came hug, he said, your parents would be so proud. What difference does it make to my parents whether I'm speaker or not? They did not raise me to be Speaker of the House. I didn't even think about that. I said, no, Rahm, my parents did not raise me to be speaker. They raised me to be holy. They're just caring about other people and the rest. That's what we all raise our children to be. And your agenda, your enthusiasm, your values, it's about any issues we can enumerate, and some of them divide, but our values should be very uniting. And that's why I feel very honored to receive this award, because our democracy is at stake. We have a lot of challenges to it, not the least of which, as we present our agenda, our president with his values and the rest, in our races, we make a distinction as to why we are different from the other side, but where we have our common ground of unifying our country, not to run, to divide, but to unify. And in that regard, it's our values that unite us. And that's what unites our Democrats too. People say to me, oh, you kept them all together. I said, no, I didn't. I didn't keep them together at all. Our values keep our House Democrats together. They know why they are there. They know what they care about. They know how to get the job done. I couldn't be prouder than to have served as their leader for 20 years. And again, happily as Emerita. But this award means a great deal to me. I thank you so much for it.